Tom Brady's a coach killer. He is. Yeah, he is. He's a coach killer.
A few years ago, before Tom Brady arrived, what did that offense look like with Byron Leftwich running it with Jameis Winston? That offense was one of the better offenses or more productive offenses in the NFL that year. Tom comes in, and what does he do? First 2 years, he puts up all these crazy numbers, and we want to give credit solely to Tom Brady. And now that there's a bad year, and Brady doesn't play well, and Mike Evans doesn't play well, and whatnot.
Preach!
Now
Preacher,
it's Byron Leftwich's. Yeah, no, it's Byron Leftwich's fault. I mean, come on here. What are we doing here?
This is what I want to say about McVay quickly. I think a couple weeks ago when we talked about his career crisis, he's going through his career crisis at 36 years old. Yeah, I'm making fun of him. He's 36 years old, been in 2 Super Bowls, won one of them, got a new contract last year, and the stories that were leaked about McVay. Oh, so much happening in his life. He got married. That's a good thing, right? Got married. Won the Super Bowl. Another good thing. Got a new contract. That's a good thing. TV stations, networks were reaching out to him because they were tempting him with more income. So that's the crisis. He had all this stuff going on in his world, and he has his first losing season of his career. Lots of coaches have had losing seasons, Sean. You're not the first one. He told his coaches, you can look, I'll give you permission to look for another job.
Right.
Then he fires 5 assistant coaches. That is some weak-ish right there. That is so weak. Just fire him.
No, but I don't think they face nobody like us yet this year either, so it's really matchup against matchup. I don't think, across the board. I don't, like people always talk about what they face and what about what they face, and they thinking how we gonna stop them. And I think we pretty hard to stop ourselves, so that's what we gotta focus on, not beat ourselves.
I don't look at football like it's literally everything. It's do or die or anything like that. It's a game, and it's my job for sure, and I take it very seriously. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm not defined by, the wins or losses as a person. Like, that's not who I am. I'm not a quarterback. I wasn't born to be a quarterback and play football, and that's it. Like, I have a life and everything like that, and I remember that. But at the same time, man, I'm a competitor. I love to compete. I want to win at all costs, and so I've been enjoying that as well. So that's where I'm at. That's how I stay grounded with it all, but definitely thankful and blessed to be here for sure.
Aren't we all, Brock Purdy? Aren't we all? We are all thankful and blessed to be here. Hey, Michael, before we get into my quarterback of my NFC team, Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm sure you want to play some kind of wager because that's just the type of degenerate that you are. Probably want to play some type of wager on this game.
Don't be so
I want to give you
judgmental.
props. I want to give you props because it's like, we're kindred spirits. That's why we're best friends. We're nerdy. We find the pleasure in details, and I don't know, the handful of people that watch this show, I don't know how much they pay attention to the inner workings of the show. If you're watching now live on Peacock, if you're listening on Sirius XM, you can't see it. If you follow us at Holley and Smith, you see the feeds, so you see the topics that we're going to talk about. I don't know if they read the feeds and appreciate the effort that goes into these feeds. Like, we usually try to have a theme, each of us. Sometimes we play off of each other. We're just really, we're writers. We're writers. I can always tell when you have been listening to our favorite writer, Mr. Tariq Trotter, a.k.a. Black Thought, because your feed today, my friend, is a work of art. It is a work of art.
Oh, my God. The dude, and Mike, first of all, thank you. But, the thanks goes to Tariq, a.k.a. Black Thought, because there's so much to choose from. There's so much on the cutting room floor. There was so much to choose from. For example, I wanted to say that Brock Purdy is going to be under pressure like a diamond mine, which he has from Sounds of Confusion off Streams of Thought. I think it's volume 2. Anyway, man, Black Thought is...
He's the greatest, man. He's the greatest.
Just
He's
stop,
the greatest.
Stop, y'all. I know we're going to talk about top 10 quarterbacks later. We're going to talk about top 10s later and top 5s.
Yeah.
Don't even put him in there. It's a different category. It's one of one. Leave him out of your mundane conversations. He's on another level.
Listen, I like to say I'm so far ahead until I appear to be lost. He says it better. So far ahead of his time, he's counterclockwise. It's like,
come on.
Black Thought, I've been saying that Black Thought's the GOAT for years. Then he had the Hot 97 freestyle. And so people started kind of coming around and realizing that. Now It's like he's finding his way into GOAT conversations. Friend of the show, y'all surprised me. Probably my favorite moment in the show's history when y'all surprised me having him on the show. But it's like, he's the greatest. There's no discussion. Keep everybody else. He's the greatest to ever do it. He's the greatest to ever bless the microphone. Hey. Guys, just genius. And that doesn't even begin to describe him. He is the prince of rap music. Let's put it down. Or if you prefer, the Stevie Wonder of hip hop. If you prefer.
I would say so. Definitely. I'll give it to him. And, I think I told you the story before when I was applying for an internship way back in the day. It was an internship, this thing called a newspaper. And in a newspaper, they call it a broadsheet. I know you kids don't understand it, but back in the day, applying for an internship at the Cleveland Plain Dealer, they had a section. They said, please put down your favorite writers. And, of course, I put down some of the usuals. I put down, Toni Morrison and James Baldwin. But back in the day, I put down William Griffin, also known as Rakim, and I put Q-Tip on there, too. Hey, at that point, I hadn't heard of Tariq Trotter. But you best believe, if I talk about my favorite writers now, he really is. He's one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite observers.
He's a poet. He's an educator.
Yeah, he's everything. Yeah. Amazing.
Most rewindable bars in history. All right. There are your flowers for today, Black Thought. Shout out to the Roots.
Flowers. What's the opposite of getting flowers? So we give our flowers to Black Thought.
Coal in your stocking?
What can I give?
I don't know.
What can I give to young Brock Purdy? It's not personal. I heard him there. He's defined by more than playing quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm glad. Because he's going to have some time next week to think about the other aspects of his life outside of football. He will not be participating. Right. Hey, he ain't going to be playing. Maybe he can listen. He can listen to some bars from Black Thought and the Roots, because he's not going to be playing in the NFC Championship game. The Dallas Cowboys will. And look, maybe I went a little too far, Mike. I'll say this. I got caught up. I got caught up in arguing with you and saying it's going to be a blowout. And, they're going to stop on them. It's not going to be close. It may be close.
Oh. Thanks.
Thank you. It may be a close game. But ultimately,
why are you so confident? Why are you so confident in the Cowboys? I'm gonna call it Candlestick, just for alliteration purposes. Why are you so confident in the Cowboys and Candlestick? I mean, like,
why?
Why? Like,
you know what this is? This is a repeat.
Do you think Brock Purdy?
We'll talk about it
later. It ain't the Niners defense.
Yeah, it is Brock.
It ain't their skill position, guys. It's Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Or is it the guy you once thought was simply a product of nepotism? One Kyle Shanahan. I ain't forgot about that take.
That changed? Hey, look, we all had contacts to get into the business. Oh yeah, nepotism is.
We didn't.
Throughout the.
It definitely helped.
That's true.
It definitely helped. But I mean, I would think he's proven his chops as an offensive wizard. So is Brock Purdy? You just think Brock Purdy is the weakest link here?
I think
that the Cowboys are going to expose him.
I do.
Oh,
yes.
Tell me you're not watching 49ers games without telling me you're not watching 49ers games.
I'm watching 49ers games.
Shows that he's going to be exposed.
I'm watching 49ers games. He's doing a nice job against the Seattle Seahawks, who were just fortunate to get into the playoffs. But good for him. That guy's wide open. Brandon Ayuk, wide open. He's doing some nice things. He had 330 yards in the wild card round.
Just say what you want to say. Just say what you want to say. That's cute. That's cute.
Hey, but you know what I think it is, Mike? I'll tell you this. In all seriousness, when I look at these two teams, I think Dallas has the edge in some categories that, for some reason, people aren't talking about. All right, so quarterback. They've got the edge. They've got the edge at quarterback. I think they have a better quarterback than the 49ers. And maybe it's a seismic edge, or maybe it's slight, but they have an edge at quarterback.
Are they arm wrestling? Are they arm wrestling?
I think.
Are they thumb wrestling?
I think they have.
Are they going one-on-one?
I think they
now
have.
I'm gonna go cliche with you. Now I'm gonna go. Now I'm gonna talk like them. Now I'm gonna talk like them.
All right.
Like, oh, okay. I didn't know the quarterbacks played against each other. I'm sorry. I missed that part.
They have an edge.
Go ahead. What else they got an edge?
They have an edge at the head coaching spot. They have an edge at the head coaching spot. Mike McCarthy has won big games. Mike McCarthy has won. Hey, you know I'm on Mike McCarthy. I'm staying with this.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
But
I appreciate
when we talk about the San,
I appreciate
and even the San Francisco defense, which is the #1 defense in the NFL, got it. You cannot win games in 2022/23. You're not going to win games all the way through by shutting people down defensively. What the New York Giants once did back in the day, what the Baltimore Ravens did, what the Chicago Bears did. Dare I say that will never happen. That will never happen again.
Tough. Well, it may not be on
never
that
happen
level.
again.
This may not be 02 Buccaneers or 2000 Ravens or 86 Giants.
What did 85 Bears do? What did they do? They gave up
3 points in the playoffs or something.
3-7 or something like that. They gave up.
It was
they gave up like
ridiculous.
Yeah. Like they gave up 10 points to New England in the Super Bowl, and that was the most.
This defense is tough.
It's tough,
they can win. It's not just defense, Michael. Again, I'll say this for the people who may have missed the show the other day. All right, it's not just about defense. It's about how physically tough and how like the Niners are a bunch of bullies. Like they're bullies. Whether it's the left tackle, whether it's the wide receivers, whether it's the tight end, whether it's the running back.
And tell that story. Because tell that great story you told the other day, because I'm going to throw an addendum on that. Go ahead.
Okay. The Cowboys, like a lot of people felt like, oh, they're chasing the Philadelphia Eagles. When I went and visited the Cowboys this year, all they talked about around that facility was like, yeah, we didn't worry about the Eagles. I mean, with all due respect, we could beat the Eagles. We could play with the Eagles. Last year, the Niners came into AT&T Stadium and grinded their feet in Eddie Murphy's couch. Okay? That's what they did in the Cowboys
Eddie
house.
Can get another
came out. Who was it?
Eddie can get another one.
Young Gotti, like, Young Boy Never Broke Again. One of them, I don't know who it was that came out to the boombox. And they beat them up at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So the Cowboys' entire mentality this year, their entire focus has been trying to be tougher, deeper, more resilient, more physical. All the things that they think they need to match up with and meet force with force when it comes to San Francisco. And while the Cowboys, listen, man, they're a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them. The 49ers are the class of the NFL once again. What's old is new again.
Wow.
The more things change, the more they stay
class
the same.
of the NFL.
They are the class of the NFL. If they get a rematch with the Chiefs, they will finish the job. If they see my Bengals in the Super Bowl, it will be 3-0 against Cincinnati in the Super Bowl for San Francisco.
How about when they see Philly? How about when they go to Philly? Has homeboy gone on the road yet? Has he gone on Seattle? Sorry, Seattle.
If they play Philadelphia, I'll get to them
He went
in a
to
second.
Seattle.
If they play
them.
Philadelphia, I'll get to Eagles Giants in a second. And last
Young
but not
Brock
least,
ain't been on the road.
Last but not least, they'll never miss a field goal. So that's where I'm at with the NFC.
Well, but here's my addendum, and it's a great San Francisco,
that
Dallas,
that division.
that Dallas, San Francisco story. I love that story, and it's insightful because it lets you understand the psyche of the Cowboys. But all that being said, the Cowboys never struggle with the physicality of San Francisco. The reason they're licking their wounds. Okay, last year, but you know what it really came down to? What are we talking about? What are we talking about last year? What were we talking about after?
Clock management.
How could they not know? How could they not know you can't do that? You can't run that play. And the people were going at Mike McCarthy and Dak. Was it Dak's fault? So, yeah, I'm sure they were physical in that game, and it was great. But those were the mental errors of the Cowboys that we wound up talking about. And I think that the Cowboys have everything that San Francisco does. They have if you say San Francisco has it, Dallas has it too. Dallas has playmakers on defense. Dallas has playmakers on offense. Dallas has a creative offensive scheme from the head coach and the offensive coordinator, both of them, give them both credit. They got playmakers all over. So, you know, I think it's gone a little too far with the San Francisco love has gone too far and has ignored, and not what I said, and not what some Cowboys haters said, or what some NFC West hater said. No, Cal Shanahan told us. Shanahan, you told us, and John Lynch, you told the world, you told Football America that all your playmakers and an average quarterback was not enough for you. So you mean to tell me you think Brock Purdy's better than Jimmy Garoppolo? Because Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't enough for them. Oh, Jimmy, you can't win a big game with Jimmy. You can't, Jimmy, listen, damn, Jimmy. You couldn't win a big game with him, right?
I can hear Jimmy. No, but you listening, but you ain't hear me. You listening, but you can't hear him. No, but here's the thing. They're not, listen, if they knew what Brock Purdy was, they wouldn't have waited until the last pick to take him. No more so than if the Patriots knew what Tom Brady was going to be, they wouldn't have taken him 199. There's my requisite Brady reference in the conversation around Brock Purdy. So no, they didn't know that Brock Purdy was all of this, but along the way he showed them, and all he's continued to do is show and prove. Let me just say this real quick, Mike. We got some company waiting. Hold on, Gary. Let me give a proper introduction. I love it. Last time we I was on the show. Well, I mean, last time I was on the show, it's kind of technical.
Man, what was that?
Show with you.
Is that 22 or 21?
That sounds weird. Last time I was home, I think it was Tuesday. Reeta Hubbard, aka the NFL chick, was on the show talking specifically about the Baltimore Ravens and the Lamar Jackson situation, which we'll also touch on with her today. But we did not give her the room to show her broader NFL knowledge. Not that she needs to show anybody anything, but she wanted to talk about Niners Cowboys. She wanted to get off some takes on that matchup, and so she's standing by. All right, let's bring in Reeta and go ahead and hear from her, because she's been holding on to this commentary for
she ready
all week, really. Been ready to put us in check when it comes to Niners Cowboys. Reeta, you heard what we have to say. You've heard us droning and rambling on. What do you have to say about this Niners Cowboys matchup?
Happy Divisional
Happy
weekend.
Friday to you too.
So let me get this right. Holly, you believe that the Cowboys are the dominant team this weekend?
Yes, the winning team. The winning team.
Okay.
I'm trying to back away a little bit, Reeta. I'm trying to have it both ways. So just understand how I'm talking out of all sides of my mouth.
Look, the Cowboys looked really good last week, and I'm not going to take that away from them. And so I get it. They do have weapons. I just have a problem with trusting Dak in the playoffs against a better defense in the San Francisco 49ers. And also, you know, they've been the more consistent team, San Francisco. Dallas hasn't. And I think that's why you have more people that feel like San Francisco can be it. I mean, obviously, from a quarterback perspective, Brock Purdy isn't better than Dak Prescott, but is he? Or is it just good coaching and good players around him? Because, I mean, I think Christian McCaffrey really changed the nature of what this offense can do once you trade it. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a very close game. I don't feel like it's going to be a blowout by any means. I have a hard time trusting Dak, man. That's my biggest issue. So
I didn't see that coming.
That's deep. Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I didn't see that one coming. Come on, Reeta.
What's your issue with that?
What's this?
Now y'all act like don't say you ain't see what I've been seeing. You know, he throws picks at some weird times, and so you know, I'm not taking away what they did last week because this is the NFL. Everybody, you know, can play at any moment. I've never been impressed with Tampa Bay. That division is trash anyway. I mean, they won it with 8-9 record. Offensive line, I could probably play left tackle better than what they had going on. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect. You know, obviously they were going to play very well because of what they were dealing with in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but wait, is that fair? But wait a second. Hold on, Reeta. I don't know that that's fair. And maybe I'm projecting. And also, too, I've been trying to atone all season for writing off the Cowboys after that Week 1 loss to Tampa when they lost Dak Prescott for what looked like it was going to be an extended period. It was not, of course, and Cooper Rush held it down in his absence. If the Cowboys had gone into Tampa and shit the bed, me, you, and everybody else would have been saying, see, told you so. So we can't have it both ways where they go out there.
I would not have. I felt like
you would not have said same old Cowboys or like, who did you have going into that game? Did you think Dallas was going to win that game? Given how little you trust Dak, did you think Dallas was going to beat Tampa, especially the way that it did?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, like I said,
we picked Tampa.
Maybe I'm projecting.
So yeah, we picked them to win.
Okay, well maybe I'm projecting, but there were more people than just me who thought that the Cowboys were ripe for an upset on the road against the greatest quarterback of all time. Yeah. And so I can't sit up here and say, well, that's what they were supposed to do. Give them a cookie. You're supposed to take care of your kids. You ain't supposed to go to jail. I can't say that about Dallas when I was the same one saying that Tampa was going to win.
Let me ask you this, Reeta. I want you, because I like what you're saying here. I like it, even though we don't agree. I like your flow here. So keep this going and answer this question along the way. Okay. You said you don't trust Dak. You don't trust Dak. I get it. Tell me who you trust. Who do you trust? Who's most trustworthy on the San Francisco 49ers? The most trustworthy person for them. It might be a coach. It might be like who is it?
I was going to say Kyle Shanahan at the moment. He's found a way to scheme up guys and get some confidence rolling with Brock Purdy, because I feel like week after week we start to see more confidence from him in playing. And it really felt like that watching the Seahawks game as well, particularly in the second half. So I really credit Kyle Shanahan, man, for just finding a way to get this guy comfortable in the offense. And then also he has great weapons, right? That's going to help him. And I think that's the biggest part as well. So, I mean, I don't know if he's like the next Tom Brady here, in terms of the storyline, because he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, but it feels like he's trying to ride that same type of ride. And then he's in a perfect situation to do so if that's going to be the case.
Okay. Hey, let's park this, take a break. We heard from your GM and coach yesterday, Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh, respectively, with regard to your quarterback, still your quarterback of your Baltimore Ravens, Reeta, Lamar Jackson. We'll get into that and the rest of these playoffs with you on the other side.
I bet.
100%, 200%. There's no question about it. Lamar Jackson is our quarterback. I mean, he's been our quarterback. Everything we've done in terms of building our offense and building our team, how we think in terms of people and put people around him, is based on this incredible young man and his talent, his ability, and his competitiveness. He and I were talking today too, and one of the things about Lamar that to me stands out, he's an incredible competitor. I mean, Lamar Jackson, all he wants to do is win at everything he does. Yeah, he's got a lot of talent. He's a very bright guy. He's got a big heart, but he's just a massive competitor. And that's the kind of guys we want to build this team around, guys that love football and guys that love to compete. So hasn't changed. It'll never change. I've loved Lamar. Eric loves Lamar. And it's not going to change in the future. So, I don't know anything about the details of the whole thing, but I know one thing. I'm like all the fans out there and everybody else. I'll have my fingers crossed and my toes crossed, and I'll be saying prayers. And I have every faith that it's going to get done. And we've got the best people in the world doing it. I mean, Eric DeCosta is nobody better. And Eric wants him here. I want him here. Steve wants him here. And Lamar wants to be here. So it's going to work out.
Well, it certainly takes two to tango. But I think Lamar and I have a great relationship. I think we communicate quite often. We spent some time together today, as a matter of fact. We've spoken throughout the season multiple times. And, these negotiations, Jameson, they all happen differently.
Are you willing to entertain trade offers about Lamar Jackson?
That's something that we're not going to talk about at this point. I talked to Lamar today, as I said, and our focus right now is really to get a long-term deal done. That's our singular focus at this point. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take great communication, give and take. But I'm confident that we'll be on the right path to get that done.
In 8 months, when you start the season, the 2023 season, is Lamar Jackson, will he be your starting quarterback?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why it won't be Jamison.
We talked about this before. One of the most effective ways of communicating with the media, say our name.
Use those names.
It's a nice little touch. Eric DeCosta's a pro.
Oh, it's so
nice little touch.
It's so disarming. Same fly, by the way. Same fly. Been in here for like 3 days. Anyway, go ahead.
That's okay. I was wondering what was going on. I saw it though. It's aggravating. Listen, let me tell you something.
Yeah, man.
Sidebar. If a fly is in the room, I can't function. Like I have to kill it at all costs. I cannot function. I can't just coexist with a fly. Like I have to like stop what I'm doing. So honestly, if you unmic and unhook right now and kill this fly, I wouldn't be mad at you. And I would take like a dish rag and just pop that son of a bitch. Like I just pop.
Just give me an opportunity.
Anyway,
all I need is an opportunity. But you're right.
I'm like Daniel something. I'm like Daniel something catching flies too. But anyway, it is very disarming.
There it is again.
It is very it's effective when it comes to managing us. So having said that, I'll ask you a question this way, Mike. How effective was the organization's messaging yesterday when it comes to this negotiation with Lamar Jackson?
Ooh, I think highly. Messaging. I think messaging, that's what I was thinking. It's so interesting that you would use that word too. Because as I was listening to them, I thought, wow, they really sat down together. I'm talking about John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta. They really sat down and they knew what was coming, and they had a clear message that they wanted to get out, and they agreed on it and they executed it well. Now, messaging is an A+. Execution, who knows? But I'll tell you the most effective, I love DeCosta, homeboy right around here from Taunton, Massachusetts. Good dude, really enjoyed talking to him. But the most effective technique, the rhetorical technique, was from John Harbaugh. I don't know if he did it on purpose. He was going on and on. He was like, yeah, Lamar, hey, we want him here, and Eric wants him here, and Lamar wants to be here. He said emphatically. Underline that. Italics, bold. Lamar wants to be here. Then, so to hear that emphasis, Mike, and then to hear DeCosta say, we talked. He said multiple times, hey, we talked earlier today, and we have a great relationship. Yeah. If you're a Ravens fan, you sit there and you listen to that. If you just, based on that conversation, on that press conference, you feel like, okay, we're in good hands. Lamar's going to be here. Can they pull it off? I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, listen, it's ultimately up to them whether Lamar is there. Now, I know there is precedent. We just saw it with a certain quarterback in Cleveland for deciding, I don't want to be here anymore. Trade me. That quarterback had just signed a contract. Deshaun Watson had just signed a contract and was like, nope, get me up out of Dodge. Sat, and then obviously there was a huge change in the story before his departure from Houston. But originally he sat because he did not want to play in Houston anymore. So could Lamar take a hard stance if he doesn't get the deal he wants and say, you know what, tag me all you want, I'm not coming to play for y'all anymore, I'm offended? He could. But ultimately the Ravens can decide whether or not they want to slap him with the exclusive franchise tag and nobody can negotiate with him, or the non-exclusive franchise tag, and open himself up for a negotiation from another team that if another team signs Lamar, they owe him 2 first-round picks, or more traditionally what happens is the teams get together and negotiate compensation. It rarely defaults to 2 first-rounders. Usually there's some kind of negotiation that takes place. So having said that, we talked about this the other day. Not only do I not think the Ravens are silly enough to let a Lamar Jackson walk out the door and then hope that they can find another Lamar Jackson. I don't think that that's how they got to be one of the preeminent organizations in the sport. Mm-hmm. I think the key word here is relationship. First of all, when it comes to relationships, especially long-term relationships, you're not always going to agree. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you stay together long enough, you're most definitely not going to always see eye to eye, especially when there's an inflection point in that relationship. And that one right now is a long-term contract where there's a difference of opinion. But what
take your time. Take your time.
But what you come back to, though, is the relationship. And like what's unusual is we're going by Lamar Jackson's Instagram stories or his subtweets or his posts or what he likes on Twitter or whatever, because he doesn't have an agent who, going back to where this conversation started, can manipulate the messaging with the media. Okay?
Right.
So we're left to, deduce from context clues what's the state of these negotiations, what's being reported, what the Ravens decide to leak, this, that, and the third. But ultimately, like, they're talking. It's not as though Lamar Jackson is leaving them on red. It's not as though Lamar Jackson is declining their calls. Like, they're talking. They're spending time with one another. Yes.
Well, I just want to just check. You think it would be crazy for them to just walk away from this asset because you believe Lamar Jackson, just for conversation, is probably a top 10 quarterback, right?
We'll get to that. But we'll get to that.
But you do. But you do, though, right?
Well, but here.
I mean, you're saying all these great things about him. He's got to be, a highly regarded.
Well, you know what? Well, let's you know what? Let's go with that. Saying all these great things about him. He's a great player. He's theirs, is what I'm getting at. He's theirs.
Okay.
Their entire offense, the offensive line, the emphasis on tight ends, the running game, up until this point, the scheme, and I don't think that's going to change, and I'll get to that in a second. The scheme, all of those things have been tailored to Lamar Jackson. He's theirs. They know him. They know his strengths. They know his weaknesses. It's hard to express those weaknesses when there's not an intermediary in the form of an agent. So you can't tell him, hey, Lamar, you haven't been that great in the playoffs. Hey, Lamar, you got some work to do when it comes to being a passer. You can't tell him that to his face because there's a relationship that has to continue to be managed, right? And so then on the flip side, if you're Lamar Jackson, the conversation was always about, well, the style of play, he may get hurt. Well, he got hurt, and guess what? They cratered without him. They couldn't score. They couldn't manage an offense without him. So for both parties, what I'm getting at, let me land this plane as quickly as I can so we can bring Reeta back. For both parties, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. And we just showed the post that he posted a couple of days ago with the cryptic messaging. He's posted a lot of stuff since then in a Ravens uniform. So let's not read too much into that either way. Ultimately, though, the grass ain't green on the other side for either one of them. The Ravens trying to find another one. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Lamar looking at another situation and seeing, okay, maybe they give you a guaranteed contract the Ravens won't. And that's important, don't get me wrong. But will another team have the infrastructure as an organization to
Good point.
Supplement,
Great
complement,
question.
highlight, support your very unique skill set? Have they done that? Will they do that to the level of effectiveness that the Ravens have to this point? Or, I'll just say it plainly, do they have their shit together? I'm not, it's one of the best organizations in the league for a reason. So it's like you can go somewhere else and then subject yourself to a level of dysfunction that you don't deal with in Baltimore. So I think both parties, finances aside, are incentivized to continue this relationship.
But I would say, Lamar, and very, very quickly, I'll say this because I want to hear Reeta on this too. I'd say Lamar is more incentivized to do it than the Ravens because the Ravens know something that Lamar doesn't. The Ravens know that they're one of the best franchises in football. Lamar doesn't necessarily know that. I mean, he doesn't know that definitively. Maybe he knows it anecdotally, talking to some friends of his on other teams or people who have come to the Ravens from other teams. Hey, man, this is not normal. Like the way it happens here doesn't happen that way in, Arizona, if I can pick on a franchise. Doesn't happen this way in Cleveland, to pick on another one. So the Ravens know who they are, and the Ravens know if they were to move on from Lamar, that it would be a haul coming back, Mike, as you outlined beautifully. If they have to move on from him, they're going to get a pretty substantial package coming back to Baltimore. And who's to say they won't be another Seattle, where Seattle got a lot for Russell Wilson, and that guy, Geno, played like, not is, but played like a top 10 quarterback in football last year. So I think the pressure believe it or not, I think there's more pressure on Lamar than there is on the Ravens.
I don't know about that. I know
you don't.
I trust the Ravens as talent evaluators. I think it's mutual. And if I had to pick one, I'd say there's more pressure on the Ravens to get it done because Lamar Jackson, first of all, Lamar is one of one. Franchise quarterbacks are rare. Either you got one or you're looking for one. And so Lamar, don't get me wrong, he's going to be good wherever he goes. But will he be as good or will he be surrounded by the same level of stability?
I'm just writing this down.
As he is in Baltimore.
I'm just writing it down.
But Baltimore, on the other hand, like, you were fortunate to get him at 32 because the Wizard of Oz, lets the draft come to him. With that said, let's welcome back the NFL chick. Enough from us. She is the resident expert on all things Baltimore Ravens. I'll ask you the same question I asked Michael off top, Reeta. How effective was the messaging from John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta yesterday? And you take it wherever you want to go from there.
I mean, I thought the messaging overall was really well, more so from Harbaugh than it was from EDC. And I'm not saying that EDC didn't said anything that was crazy, but like he made a couple of comments here and there about, well, it takes two to tango and, all that other stuff. Right. But Harbaugh, I mean, he was very like, Lamar works hard. He wants to be here. When it comes to the offensive coordinator situation, we're going to let Lamar have impact on that. And that's saying a lot for a guy who is yet to be re-signed by the team. So you can tell that Harbaugh really wants this to work. And not that I don't think Eric doesn't either. I absolutely think that he does. But he also made a comment that, Lamar, the human being, which, he loves Lamar and the quarterback is different from the Lamar, the agent, because we know that Lamar is representing himself. So, there was some talk there that was technical, but I do think that they really want to make things work. And I heard you guys talking about, who has more pressure. I mean, it's an equal type of pressure. I agree. The grass is not green on the other side, on either side of this. Lamar can go to another organization and it not be structurally sound, or the Ravens could go to another quarterback and it might not pan out. I mean, those are the possibilities if you decide to move on. And my thing is that, I don't know what it is with the Ravens organization, because we talked about this one time, the last time I was on here, about they did this with Joe Flacco, but you have to find a way to get with the times. Quarterbacks are not going to be cheap, particularly really good ones. Franchise quarterbacks don't necessarily come a dime a dozen. So you really have to find a way to make this work, because you can't just think you can continue to just get good quarterbacks, not great ones, and think that you're going to compete in a division that potentially will have Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and depending on how Kenny Pickett works out, that quarterback. So, I really do hope that they find a way to make it work.
Do you think you said good quarterbacks, not great ones, for the Ravens? What could be in their future if they don't have Lamar Jackson there? That's presuming, and if I'm getting it wrong, correct me, that you are calling Lamar Jackson a great quarterback. You think he is a great quarterback right now?
I mean, to me, he is. I've seen one other dude outside of Lamar get a unanimous MVP, and that's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that I've seen, in my lifetime. And I'm old enough to have seen some Joe Montanas and Dan Marinos and such. So, I mean, I think that Lamar can absolutely be great. Does he struggle to be consistent sometimes? Sure. But also look at the personnel that he has as well. So I feel like if the Ravens are consistently trying to upgrade the wide receiver position, Lamar would be I think we would talk more about him strongly being in the top 10. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I see how people can say debatable. I think it's because of the personnel more so than it is Lamar, though, that we're not having that conversation.
I think the personnel is their strength is in the line, the running game, and the tight ends.
Correct.
Because the way their offense has. Now, that brings me to the question about the offensive coordinator. It's the last thing before we let you go. So they moved on from Greg Roman. There's a guy who he's from D.C., but that's not why you hire him. He's from D.C., who just made the fall guy in Tampa, when 2 years ago they won the Super Bowl with his offense. The quarterback whisperer for whom he worked said, it ain't about me and Tom Brady. It's about Byron Leftwich.
Yeah.
He's a high coaching candidate. I don't think he forgot to coach in the last year. He's available. And real quick, let me preach for a second. Listen, this is the best thing ever happened to Byron Leftwich. Because you know what? There was nothing else. When all is said and done, in more the words of Darryl Dawkins, as quoted by Giant, when all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do. There was absolutely nothing else for him to do with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. He already won a Super Bowl, was never going to fully get the credit. See, Byron Leftwich wasn't going to get the kind of credit for Tom Brady that, Josh McDaniels or Bill O'Brien did, okay? What would be great for Byron Leftwich is go take Lamar Jackson to the next level. Go take Lamar. So this was a setback for a setup. That's all. This was a step back to be a stepping stone. I don't know who needs to hear that. What do you think about a Byron Leftwich as Greg Roman's replacement as OC in Baltimore?
I like him. I have some other guys.
I can't get an amen. I thought we could amen off of that.
I got some other guys in place. Can I give you another brother that I would be interested in? But from another
Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell, who was already there.
No, I'm a bigger fan
Caldwell's
of
a good call.
Johnson, quarterback coach for
Philly? Yeah.
I don't know.
He's done amazing work with Jalen Hurts.
But unfortunately for me, I'm a Gators fan also. And so he was the offensive coordinator for Florida the year that they had Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. And, I don't think that Kyle Trask is a great athlete, but I saw what he did with Kyle Pitts. I see what they're doing now with Jalen Hurts. And I think that he would be, that's my guy. I mean, he runs RPOs. He's going to have some pro-style offense in there. I think that he would be a really good fit for what the Baltimore Ravens want to do because they're never going to not want to run the football. That's never not going to happen. So, but I do think that he opens the passing game, and that will be my guy. But I do like Byron Leftwich. I don't want to say that.
No, but that's a good call.
I tweeted that he can bring him and Mike Evans with him somehow via trade. I would, give it to me all day. But if not, I would really love to see Brian Johnson get an opportunity because I think it's his time.
I like it. Hey, It's been a good time as always talking with you, Reeta. Thank you so much for the knowledge. We appreciate you. And we'll probably holler at you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take it easy.
All right, Reeta. Enjoy football this weekend. Enjoy watching Dallas.
When you throw 3 interceptions, especially in the first half, or four interceptions, especially if it's in the first half, if it's your fault or not, that kind of can seep into your mind of what decisions am I going to make going forward? Do I protect it or do I stay aggressive? But he battled through, man. That's a true test of a competitor, man. That whenever stuff's not going your way, to still pull your team to find a way to win. And he's done it at every level, high school, college, and now in the NFL, he's taken that team and they've turned it around fast. So he's a great competitor, man, and we understand it'll be a great challenge.
Lawrence celebrated his first playoff win at Waffle House, which is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
How did you celebrate your first playoff win?
I can't remember exactly. I'm sure I was saying to Brad, I'm sure there was a couple Coors Lights that were drinking. But I didn't get Waffle House, man. That's a baller move, man. And so maybe if we win this one, I'll think of somewhere to go that can match that.
All right, that's Patrick Mahomes talking about his counterpart, Trevor Lawrence. I want to kill a couple of birds with one stone here. I want to get your picks for we talked a lot about one NFC divisional game. I want to get your picks for the others and the rest was the AFC. I got the Chiefs advancing over the Jaguars.
Me too. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and
agreed.
I'm rolling with Joe Burrow. I'm rolling with Joe Burrow.
Me too.
Okay. Oh, okay. You're on that
listen,
man. You can't bring yourself to pick Buffalo.
Listen.
Okay.
No, it's growth.
Okay.
No, it's growth. No, it's just growth. Because last year, I've come so far with the Cincinnati Bengals. And, the lesson I learned quickly is, you're typecast. You got a certain story until you don't anymore. That's just what happens in the NFL. You have that story. Right. Then you do one thing to change it. And now that's not your story. So the Cincinnati Bengals were all the things I said they were. And what did they do last year? They go out and they win
So
they win a few playoff games, and that's no longer their story.
So we're
So
on
I
the
believe.
same page there. NFC, you got the Cowboys, I got the 49ers.
Yes.
Don't ask me why. I ain't got no.
Don't.
I got no next level analysis.
Come on.
I got the
Come
Giants.
on. No, you.
I'm taking the Giants.
No,
The
dude.
last NFC East team standing will be the New York Football Giants.
That
the
is
Giants.
okay.
I got the
That
Giants.
might be the craziest take of the day. That may be the craziest take of the day. Why?
All right. I guess
Why?
I
got the Giants. Because
I got the Giants.
this is what happens. I'm
got a
telling you.
feeling.
This is what
I
happens.
just got a feeling.
This is what happens. Okay, feelings are great.
a
We love
division
feelings. I
game.
acknowledge. I see
division
you.
game.
I acknowledge your feelings. I see you. You're seen.
Yeah.
But what happens is when those teams are unseen, those number one seeds, wild card weekend every year, that number one seed to sit back chilling, people are like, you know what? Oh, they ain't that good.
Okay, but sometimes that number one seed is chilling while that other team is playing, and that M word kind of comes into play. Listen, I got the Giants. I got the Giants.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
With the time we have left, it is Friday. I haven't talked to Nat in a while on camera, that is. We haven't heard from the people in a while via the comment section. So let's hear from the people before we go into the weekend with our girl, Natalie, our BFA correspondent, apparently, out here getting press credentials and whatnot. Covering games.
Press credentials?
Yeah.
Probably getting the
braids
scoop.
all
Probably
fresh, like, don't look, just came
getting
out
the
the
scoop.
salon.
Did you get the scoop from the Warriors? They did some different things in that game last night. I'm sure you got the scoop from some of the players and Steve Kerr.
Actually, the Warriors, they were I'm just basing it on their actions, were pretty upset about that loss. So none of the players came to do post games. Everything was in the locker room, except for Steve Kerr. So I didn't get much. I went to the winning team, the Celtics, and I got some stuff from them.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like go. You'll be taking Vinny Goodwill's spot before you know it.
That's right.
Make some contacts in different locker rooms.
Yeah.
All right. What are the people saying? Hit us with the comments. What you got? Be
Yes.
gentle.
So we had a conversation about Byron Leftwich yesterday in terms of him, being a scapegoat when he was terminated, scapegoated. And a lot of the conversation between Michael and Jim was about it, like Tom Brady having a poor season. And so when he wins, it's all about Tom Brady. And when he loses, then someone, a coach gets fired. And generally speaking, I would say a lot of our viewers agreed with that position. But there was one viewer who said, I think he's being scapegoated, but it's for the coach, the head coach, not for a Tom Brady. So curious what you guys think about that.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, it's the offense is struggling, and Todd Bowles' area is supposed to be defense.
Right.
You're not going to fire the quarterback if you can help it. So, yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, the coach probably had some say in the matter, we think.
Maybe.
If it's to keep Tom Brady, then, Brady probably made it known, or it was no secret that Brady wanted to see some change. I think it could be multiple things. I think it was probably a collective decision. True. What I do know is that it is not always a reflection of that individual. Just as it wasn't all Byron Leftwich's fault, I'm sure he had his hand in him underperforming. I don't think Byron Leftwich forgot how to coach, nor do I think he was along for the ride the last couple of years when things were going well. So listen, he ain't the first or the last good coach to be fired. A lot of good coaches have been fired because, failure demands accountability.
Especially this offseason.
They put it on him. Yeah, and he'll end up somewhere else, and he'll end up on his feet, and he'll be a head coach still. What else you got?
Yeah, so HBCUs, big topic, continues to just, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Our favorite Dr. Jason, as I like to call him, came on yesterday, riled everyone up as he loves to do, but, he called out Ed Reed and said, his comments were dangerous and gave really thorough explanations as to why. And as everyone may know, Ed Reed's recent comments that he had to apologize for, he was being very critical of Bethune-Cookman, who he was recently hired to coach there. So it's interesting. YouTube really seemed to think that we had an issue just you know, that Ed Reed was right, and at some point we gotta call things out and there should be accountability. So YouTube didn't really seem to agree, our viewers who, you know, look at the show on YouTube, with Dr. Jason, but Instagram really agreed with him, and they said, you know, listen, this was irresponsible, and like, yeah, there are some issues, but there's a different way to handle this. So 2 different viewpoints.
Interesting. Maybe it's different audiences. We got to do a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else?
Yeah.
We got about a minute left. We got to take our last break. Do you have anything else, Natalie? Any other comments?
Deep dive is the right word. Deep is the right phrase. Yes.
Yes. So very quickly, we had a debate about who's the face of the NBA, and then we took a poll. That also got a little spicy. But so the poll, LeBron is leading the poll, which I know that most people would probably expect that to be, but he doesn't have a majority. He has 44%, I believe it is, and then it's about like 20. I can't see from here that well, but it's split between
20% co-faces.
Yeah, so it's split between Steph and co-faces. And that's about like 49%, and then 7% are unsure. So we had a really great comment.
Can I throw something out?
Yeah.
That's my first time seeing that. What if LeBron is the voice of the NBA and Steph is the face of the NBA?
Oh, okay.
How about that?
I like that.
How about that?
That's pretty good.
And I think there are multiple faces and multiple voices, but I think it's those 2 primarily.
That's Prince Stevie Wonder stuff right there. That's Prince Stevie. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.